Welcome, everybody. We're back to the West Coast Preps podcast once again. I can't believe we're already halfway through the football season and it's already October. It feels like the fall. And league play is here. I'm Chris Jackson, joined here by Noah Glosson. We've got a lot of fun stuff in store. We've got a big game of the week this week. St. Mary's from Berkeley hosts Kennedy of Richmond. Two unbeaten teams Saturday at 1 p.m. That voting finished last night. We're going to get into that league too. The Tri-County, that league has some really good teams. You've actually got three unbeaten teams at 5-0. Kennedy's 5-0. St. Mary's is 5-0. St. Patrick, St. Vincent's 5-0. So Noah, first off for you, what do you like about this league and some of these teams so far? And what have you thought about this league, I guess, through non-league play in the first half of the season?
I like what St. Patrick, St. Vincent's got for sure. They have a lot of offensive capabilities, big play capabilities. They have a good quarterback in Wyatt Smith. He's thrown over 16 touchdowns this season. He threw 6 against the defending state champion Salesian. They put a licking on Salesian, beat them by 36, and they're going to play St. Mary's towards the end of the season. And they're going to play Kennedy in a couple of weeks. That game is very soon. That's going to be really fun. And for this matchup this Saturday with Kennedy and St. Mary's, it's going to be really close. St. Mary's and Kennedy both 5-0, well-coached programs, but I have to give St. Mary's the edge given what they've got. They've had some impressive wins, so I'll go lean towards the Panthers.
Yeah, we're going to get into some of those game predictions here towards the end of the podcast. We've actually got a new fun segment too, over-unders. We're going to start bringing this every week. We've got some fun stuff for you there. First off, let's go to those two teams that play Saturday. Kennedy-Richmond first. They're 5-0. They went to an NCS championship a few years ago under Greg Marshall. He's got this program rolling. What have you thought about Kennedy so far through this 5-0 start?
I think it's really a testament to how much they've grown and how good of a program
They brought 29 passes. It would shut down my.
Greg Marshall. Sorry about that. Greg Marshall is as a coach. He's a very good coach. They went 0-10 last year, faced so much adversity on and off the field, but what he's doing right now is really impressive with the culture that he's building. I'm really impressed with what Kennedy-Richmond's got.
Yeah, me too. They're doing really well this season. They've outscored opponents 144-24, and they've got great players up and down the roster. Kyrie Parker, he leads their team in rushing, over 12 yards per carry, a star on defense. DeAndre Prim, over 35 yards per catch, 2 interceptions. Daniel Acosta is another player with 26 yards per catch, 2 interceptions. They're hitting big plays as a team too, because they've got 23.8 yards per catch. And then on defense too, you've got these guys, Kenny Evans Jr., 25 plus tackles. Rob Williams is getting plays left and right, 20 plus tackles. 8 plus tackles for loss, 5 plus sacks. Alvanti Gallen has been a star. He's definitely a college prospect. He's got over 20 tackles now. Kennedy coming in with a lot of momentum at St. Mary's on Saturday, but so is St. Mary's as well with that 5-0 record under its new coach, John Trotman.
Easily. And this is going to be a really good battle, and see, I think, who can really be a front runner in this Stone League. You have St. Patrick, St. Vincent with all the offensive capabilities they have. But then you have two well-coached programs in Kennedy of Richmond and in St. Mary's. They've both got good play abilities, well-coached. They can both operate well on the run, and they have some good receivers. And they've got some great defensive prospects too. Kyle Gorey, I know you've wondered where the offers are for him. He deserves to play at the next level, and other athletes for St. Mary's of Berkeley. And then there's DeAndre Prim, there's Alvanti Gallen. Those are some guys who deserve to have a shot at the next level too for Richmond or Kennedy.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, St. Mary's up. I'm glad you mentioned Kyle Gorey. He's a star on both sides of the ball. He'll get you big carries. He's tough, and he's a great linebacker as well. He's definitely someone that's going to play college football at a high level. You've got guys everywhere too. Malachi Young's a really good player. Austin Vogel just keeps getting better and better. Logan Tanasaki had a really great first game against Deer Valley. He's a good athlete that's up and coming. Still kind of new to football too, which is scary. And they've also outscored opponents 167-29. So both these teams have a lot of momentum. This is the game of the week, 1 p.m. Saturday at St. Mary's in Berkeley. This is going to be a fun one to open up league play. But then St. Patrick, St. Vincent's another team to keep an eye on. They just put up 50 points on Salesian, and defending state champion, rolled in that one 50-14. They've scored 50 plus points 3 times. They even put up 62 against Vacaville Christian in non-league play.
Oh, 100%. This is a very scary St. Patrick's St. Vincent team, and I think they're personally the front runner based on what happened at Salesian last Saturday. With all that talent they got, Wyatt Smith is a great quarterback. They can really, make big plays. He's one of the more underrated quarterbacks. I think he has over 16 touchdown passes. He threw 6 against Salesian as they put up 50 points en route to a 36-point route. But I gotta think that this matchup here on Saturday in Berkeley is going to decide. It could really give us a good indication of where these teams are and how good they're going to be towards the end of the year.
Yeah, the way they're all playing, it's going to be a fun, I guess, 3-horse race to decide this thing. It wouldn't shock me if some of these teams beat up on each other too, and a league champion emerges with one loss with how good they are. And Wyatt Smith, unbelievable season, over 16 touchdowns, over 1,100 yards through 5 games. Also leads the team in rushing. Then they've got a really young and emerging receiving core. All underclassmen, you've got a junior in Josiah Jones is averaging 24 yards a catch. A sophomore in Bo Smith over 28 yards per catch. And Judge Nash, only a freshman, over 25 yards per catch this season. So there's a lot of athletes and playmakers on the St. Patrick St. Vincent team too. And what they did to Salesian, a defending state champion, always a well-run program, always kind of beats you up front. What St. Pat's did in that game, that was definitely one of those statement wins, I think you could say.
Easily, and that just proves their legitimacy in that division with the Tri-County, within the Tri-County Stone League, that 3-horse race for the crown. I think it's going to be St. Patrick St. Vincent, and either 2 or 3 is going to be what's decided this Saturday out in Berkeley.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one to watch. Check that all out, westcoastpreps.com. Our Twitter, you already know it's all going to be on there, westcoastpreps_. Now we've got some big games again. It's league play is pretty much starting up everywhere. We had some fun stuff last week, right? Half Moon Bay beating Menlo Atherton. Yes, 5-star Jerry Dickey was out of that game, but it's not like MA was a bad team without Jerry on either. They were probably a team I even slept on going into this season. Half Moon Bay comes in with a great resume so far. They're unbeaten. They're playing Sacred Heart Prep, a team that has not lost since that 1-point loss to Sacred Heart Cathedral. Put the running clock on Reardon, beat Los Gatos on a game-winning field goal. How do you see that one going between these two programs?
Half Moon Bay can be a really tricky team to match up with offensively, and that's going to be a really good test for Sacred Heart Prep's defense. But I'm just blown away with the Sacred Heart Prep leadership. Shea O'Kelly, it doesn't matter where he is on the field, he's going to make a play. It doesn't matter if he's on the opposite end of the field, he will find a way to get to the ball. That's why he had 191 tackles last year. Already has 50 tackles, I believe, 10 tackles for a loss so far. Carter Shaw is a great other defensive prospect. And you've got guys like Andrew Latu is a great running back. Mitchell Taylor is a great quarterback. And their pieces clicked really well against Reardon, against Los Gatos. They held them to combined 14 points, 2 very prolific offenses. Held down is a testament to Sacred Heart Prep. But I think Sacred Heart Prep, with all they've got, that defense, that rising offense, I think they're going to take them down and they're going to kick off league play, PAL league play with a win.
Yeah, I like what Half Moon Bay has got. PJ Modena is a really good running back. Theolocitos making some big plays. They've got just one of those things in that program. They always got new guys step up, great leaders, well coached. But I like Sacred Heart Prep, especially what they've done, what they've got up front. Mitchell Taylor keeps growing as a quarterback. Andrew Latu, like you said, Luke Maxwell's been a great 2-way player. Felicio Buffington keeps coming into his own along the edge. RJ Stevens, Carter Shaw, all these different guys. I think it's going to be a close one, but I'm with you. I like Sacred Heart Prep in this one. Now, how about tonight? We've got a fun one tonight. 2 unbeaten teams in Gilroy. Christopher against Lincoln.
Ooh, that's a very tough matchup. Christopher won 20-0 in the Severance Bowl versus Gilroy. They're going to face a tough Lincoln team. They beat up on Branham. I think all of us, you, me, and Greg, were all shocked by that result. But that's just a testament to how good of a team that Lincoln is. They've got some good talent. They have a quarterback who has over 800 yards. They have a good running back in Espinoza. He has 8 touchdowns. And Phillips is another great running back. Taden Phillips, he has 9 touchdowns. Lincoln has talent. And it's going to be a close one. I got to go with Christopher, though, given all the momentum they have. They have a good defense. And I think they are going to take this one by a very close margin.
I'm gonna go Lincoln in this one. After what they did to Branham, it was I don't know if any of us kind of saw it going the way that did. Sure, we could have seen Lincoln winning that, but winning like they did against Branham, kind of a statement there right away. Won over 30 points kind of in that first half. I like Lincoln. It's going to be a close one though too. I love Tatum Phillips. You've got Kyan Phillips too. A freshman is just really bursting onto the scene. I think Lincoln gets it done on the road, but it's not going to be easy. And then another one we've got to look to as well. I'm just going to make quick notes here, though. We're going to go into the St. Mary's Stockton de Lasalle game. Once it comes to the over-under, same with McClymonds, San Ramon Valley as well, because we've got some over-unders on these games. But San Leandro against James Logan, a really fun one at Burrell Field on Friday night. We'll have our own Lucia Coons at that game at San Leandro. James Logan, a ranked team, traveling to San Leandro. What are your thoughts on this game? Who comes out on top?
Their two losses were to quality teams in Cal and Marine Catholic. They beat Monte Vista, Los Lomas. They beat Heritage. I think James Logan takes it overall. What they did a couple weeks ago to Heritage was really impressive, holding Devon Rivers to under 100 yards after having 4 straight games of over 200 yards is really impressive. San Leandro, I like their history in recent years, but they've granted, they've played some tough teams like Camp Alindo, Cardinal Newman, and Bellarmine, but James Logan, I think, has a lot of power, so I think they're going to take this one.
No, I'm with you too. I'm going to go James Logan. I love the resume. I love what this coaching staff's building. It feels like James Logan's really coming back, right? Last year they win league, had really a rout of Bishop out there late in the season to secure at least a share of that league title. This coaching staff's got going there, building James Logan football back up to kind of what it's been in the past, right? And then the next one, East Bay Athletic League, Mountain Play opens up. Cal doing what Cal does under Danny Calcagno. Monte Vista, first year head coach Johnny Millard, struggled out of the gate, some adversity, but they're young. 17 junior starters, a couple of sophomore starters. Where are you seeing this one? Because the last couple of years these two teams have played, it's been some good games.
Yeah, for sure. Last year in the regular season, it was really close, but then Cal broke away in the playoffs last year and had a rout of them in the opening round of the Division I playoffs. I got to go with Cal, though. I like Danny Calcagno, what he's done operating in that spread offense from that heavy run I formation. It's really worked out. He's had some great receivers, his son, Jake Calcagno, great quarterback in Teddy Burruss, and 2 different Burruss and Calcagnos are now on the field, and they're playing well. Devin Love's a great running back. I think Monte Vista still finding those pieces, especially with those young guys. That great senior class graduated last year. So I'm going to lean towards Cal.
Yeah, it's tough too. Some of these young guys have learned, 3 different systems in 3 years, because you had Matt Rusty a couple of years ago, then CJ Anderson for a year, now coaching at Rice. It looks like he's coming back out here to recruit a little bit. And then now it's Johnny Millard. So they're still learning, but they've got some transfers that are now eligible this week. Julian McMahon moves over from Moreau Catholic. He's a stud in that 2025 class. Kellen Ford, a really, really good tight end from San Ramon Valley, moved over. This should make it interesting. Monte Vista is going to just keep going up. I think once the end of the year hits, they'll be a lot more dangerous. I think they're going to start finding their stride here soon. We've mentioned their culture, but I like Cal. I really like what they've got going. Some of these younger brothers too. You always know younger brothers are going to be tough, because I'm sure they were kind of beaten up and all that by Teddy Boris, by Jay Calcagno, growing up with how good those kids were. I like Cal high in this one. It's going to be a fun one, but I like Cal coming out on top. And then 707, American Canyon. So close to beating Livermore. Vintage, a tough loss last week to Petaluma, but that's always a powerhouse in that region. American Canyon hosting this one. Where are you seeing this one go?
This is a really tough one. It does seem like for the last couple of years that Vintage had that stranglehold on the Vine Valley Athletic League, and Petaluma shocked them with a 2-point victory. They've been battle tested. They've played teams like Antioch, Heritage, and many others. I got to go with Vintage. I think they're going to rebound. I think they're going to find their stride. If they can correctly find their stride and correct the mistakes they made last week against Petaluma, then I think they could definitely come out on top and definitely still compete for that top spot in the VVAL.
I'm going to go American Canyon. I like what they've got going. I think they're another program that just seems like they keep getting better and better. Could have been the argument they almost could have beat Livermore, but just Tough way to end that game. American Canada, I think, gets it done in a close one. The next one, we're going to go out to Sonoma County now. These two teams, Montgomery's growing, Cardinal Newman's starting to get better and better again under Richard Sanchez. Who wins this game between these two Santa Rosa schools?
It's going to be close, but I got to go with Cardinal Newman. They have good talent. They got Steverson, they got Acevedo. I know Acevedo's been in and out of injuries, but I like what Cardinal Newman's got. They have a great tradition up there in Sonoma County. They played same areas as Stockton, really tough last a couple weeks ago. Beat Danza, beat Vintage, and had a tough loss to Vacaville. But I like what they've got, and I got to go with Cardinal Newman.
I'm going to go Montgomery in this one. I like what Montgomery's got going. I think they're another team that's kind of growing. They're getting more and more athletes. I'm going to go Montgomery, though. This is not going to be easy. It would not shock me if Cardinal Newman finds a way to win and even maybe win big, but I'm just going to go Montgomery to win this one. Now the WCAL. We're going to go a couple of WCAL matchups here back to back. First, St. Ignatius versus Valley Christian.
Now, these teams are obviously rebuilding. Valley Christian lost Jerry Undicky in the offseason, but they've got Jonathan Kraft, Kai Hamilton. They're still finding their ways as a quarterback and receiver duo. 2-1-4 teams, but don't be fooled by that record. They played some tough competition over these past 5-6 weeks. I got to go with Valley Christian, though. Very, very close game, probably low scoring on the lower end of the scoring, just because I still like what they've got. Mike Machado, and they found ways to win the past without Jerry Undicky. When he was a freshman, his production was nowhere near where it was in years past. They won a league title, a shared league title with SI and Sarah. But so, yeah, I got to go with Valley Christian.
I'm going to go St. Ignatius. It seems like we're going kind of opposites on a lot of these recent picks. Valley Christian's had injuries to its quarterback situation. St. Ignatius, Soren Hummel, I loved what he showed last week. So I know Ethan Castle mentioned it on our Twitter space last Friday. They've got a lot of different quarterbacks coming up through the SI program. I think St. Ignatius does pull away in another tight one there. And then how about Archbishop Mitty versus Archbishop Reardon?
Mitty is with what they've done, they played against Sarah. Obviously they lost. Sarah is just a powerhouse, the class of NorCal, the class of the region. I got to go with Mitty. Will Towers is a great quarterback. They've got some good prospects at Claremont McKenna commit. They've got a Sacramento State commit. And like as Coach A-Ray said from Bellarmine, watched them in the offseason, they are buying into it. They like the culture there. They're having fun. And that's really contributed. Coach Sullivan's doing a great job down there. He's easily a contender for Coach of the Year after a 1-9 campaign last season. Reardon, of course, I can't count them out. They've had some injuries and they've struggled with penalties, but Mitchell's a good quarterback and they've got weapons and they're growing up there. Dear Ravapati, great coach, and he's building something out there. But Mitty, I think with what they've got special things right now happening down there. So I got to go with them.
I love what Mitty's got too. Reardon's a little banged up, some injuries. I know Daniel Keaty's been out. I know he posted on Instagram dealing with some pneumonia. Hopefully he's back soon in that one. I like Mitty though. Very, very good senior leadership this year. I think Mitty wins another tight game too. It seems like this week there's going to be a lot of tight games up and down the board. That's why some of these over-unders you're going to see soon are going to be really, really close spreads that we've got. And then Northgate against Miramonte. Northgate unbeaten. Miramonte only one loss, but that was the Oaktail. That's always a strong program in the Valley. How does this one go?
I think it's really going to be about how they pass the ball around. Luke Duncan likes to air the ball out, strong arm, good size, good reads, good vision. He has all the makings of the Power 5 quarterback committed to UCLA. I got to go with Miramonte just because of what Luke Duncan's got. They have so many different offensive weapons to utilize. Northgate, no disrespect to them. Emilio Pucci is a good prospect, but I like what Miramonte has too much.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love Miramonte's team this year. Luke Duncan's going to put up a big game. I've got Miramonte winning this one. Now Salesian, does it get back on track against Pinole Valley, a team that it beat last season?
I think it's going to be tough, but I think Pinole Valley takes it. Pinole Valley, I know they're 2-2, but they've played some relatively tough competition like Annalee. They got crushed by Annalee, but Annalee is a really good program up there in the North Bay. I got to go with Pinole Valley by a slight margin.
I'm going to go Salesian by a slight margin. I think they're going to get a lot better. They're going to learn from that St. Patrick's St. Vince game. I think Chad Nightingale's going to right this ship in this one. Now Marin County, a game that was so close to winning game of the week. Redwood at home Saturday afternoon against San Marin.
San Marin, Dominic Ingrassia is developing as a quarterback quite nicely. They've got some good receivers, Timmel and Quincy, along with others. And they have some good line play, good defensive players. I got to go with San Marin. They were so close to a 5-0 record to knocking off Akalani's in that opener that you were at. But I think they're going to continue their winning streak and extend it to 5.
Yeah, I like what San Marin's got to. They're really coming together as a team. This is a team where even when I was at practice in August, they said we're only going to get better. We're definitely going to be a lot better week 10 than week 1. I know a lot of teams hope they can do that. San Marin, I definitely know will be that. I think San Marin wins a great game on the road there in Larkspur. Now the game of the week, St. Mary's Berkeley home against Kennedy from Richmond, and these two unbeaten teams.
It's going to be a really close game, come down to the wire. I got to give St. Mary's the edge, though, with what they've done so far. They've had some good wins. They've fought hard. Kyle Gorey is a great athlete, and they're figuring it out up there. No disrespect to Greg Marshall and his staff. They're doing a great job out there in Richmond. Alvante Gallen, DeAndre Prim, and some of the other guys. I just think St. Mary's has too much power in them to let this game slip away from them.
You know, you and Greg picked St. Mary's. I'm going to go the opposite and pick Kennedy. Somebody's got to pick them. I like what Kennedy's got going with Greg Marshall. It's hard for me to pick against that guy and Alvante Gallen and those kids there, but it's going to be another close game. I won't be surprised if this thing gets decided in those final few minutes. Now it's time for our first ever over-unders and spread segment. We've got multiple different spreads. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different over-unders we're going to go into. As you've all probably seen, we've got these catapult vests that we put on players pretty much every single week. One of the players that's going to have it on this week, McClymonds against San Ramon Valley. Javion Thomas, nicknamed the J. You just saw Javion for the first time. I'm setting the over-under at 22.5 miles per hour in that catapult vest tomorrow. Is he going faster? Is he going slower?
I think he's going to go over if he finds a big play, 50+ yards, breaks free. You saw him do that against Bellarmine. I saw him doing it against Pitt. I think he's going to go over.
Me too. I think Javion hits 23 miles per hour. He just gets that one big play. He just cuts to the outside, goes down the sideline, boom. That's almost seems like an easy 23 miles per hour with the way that kid runs. The next one, this same game, Luke Baker, 250 passing yards. Just for context, he's averaging 299.4 passing yards per game. McClymonds, though, did hold Jaden Rashada last week to 227 yards, picked off 2 passes. Obviously, it really wasn't Jaden's fault when you look at film and all that stuff, just tough breaks. But is Luke Baker throwing for over 250, or is he going to be just below 250 against this really good McClymonds defense?
I think he's going to be slightly under 250. Of course, I hope he proves me wrong. Of course, I'd like to see them succeed. But this McClymonds defense is really something else with, Tayshawn Clayton, Javion Thomas too. He plays in that secondary. Tony Hamilton is a great defensive back too. They've got some good players in the secondary, and they really locked down on Rashada a lot. They're putting pressure on him defensively, picked him off twice. Tony Hamilton had 2 great picks. So I got to go with under 250 for Baker.
I'm feeling fireworks in this one. I'm going to go a little bit over. I'm thinking Luke Baker gets 260, 265 in a good game there. McClymonds. Oh, before we move on to the next over-under, who wins that game? McClymonds or San Ramon Valley?
It's hard for me to pick against McClymonds unless, they're playing Pitt. So I'm going to go Mac.
Yeah, I'm going McClymonds too. That's going to be a fun game. San Ramon Valley is rolling right now. They look like the early favorite in that side of the EBAL. Though I'm going McClymonds. And now Sarah Bellarmine. Sarah minus 17 versus Bellarmine. Sarah won 41-0 last year. They winning by more than 17, less than 17. Heck, does Bellarmine even take the points and everything else?
I think Sarah wins by over 17 points. Like Greg said it best in the most respectful way possible. He's getting bored of them. they're just so amazing. They're like, they do what they do. They beat up on Midi by over 4 touchdowns. Milwaukee Smith is a great quarterback. Danny Neu, Jabari Mann, Joseph A. hits, and he hits hard. I love what Bellarmine's got with Ben Pfaff. Reels is a great defensive lineman. He might honestly be a contender for defensive player of the year for West Coast Preps. It's going to be a good game, but I think Bellarmine, while they make it interesting, I think Sarah pulls away late and wins by over 17.
Yeah, I was talking with Bellarmine's coaches, and they were saying the Sarah defense on film was one of the best defenses they've really had to game plan for. I love what Bellarmine's got, but Sarah take the points. It's hard for me to not pick in Sarah's favor. I can't pick against that program right now. That's a well-oiled machine, like we've definitely made clear on Twitter Spaces and everything else. Then the next one, De La Salle at St. Mary's. De La Salle minus 2.5 on the road. It's always close when these two teams play, except last year De La Salle didn't win big, but the year before was a one-score game. St. Mary's, though, was 6-0, outscored opponents by 210 points, and they also beat Central Catholic Modesto 47-7.
That's going to be really interesting. If they play like they did, that's going to be a hard matchup. I know that Sarah beat them by 12 points. They had some trouble with Central Catholic early on the season. Sarah beat De La Salle. It's going to be a very close matchup. I got to go with under I think St. Mary's does take the very slight victory in this one. No disrespect to De La Salle, but I think this is going to be their third NorCal loss this year.
I'm going De La Salle. De La Salle is going to win this game by a field goal and just cover that spread on the road. Hard for me to see De La Salle win 3 league games. I think this is a time they bounce back and start to make some statements and really get that ball rolling like Spartans football. And then the last over-under, Clayton Valley minus 1.5 at Amador Valley. Clayton Valley won last year in a close one, 21-17. This year, though, it's in Pleasanton, and both these teams are ranked in the Bay Area football rankings.
I got to go with Clayton Valley with the last week versus Jesuit was really impressive. They did have some tough losses, Turlock, Del Oro, and Salinas. A lot of those teams are undefeated. They had a combined 15-3 record. Turlock is 3-3, but they play in a tough side of in Stanislaus County. They lost by 2. I got to go with Clayton Valley in this one. They face so much adversity, especially facing teams like Salinas with the athletes they got. Del Oro is really good too. They're 6-0. I got to go with Clayton Valley over 1.5 point victory.
Yeah, this is going to be another field goal game. The way these two teams play, Amador Valley is going to pound it on the ground. Clayton Valley's passing the ball more than you're used to. You're going to see a lot more pass plays and some stuff in the box score than probably years past with what they've done. Clayton Valley's going to win a close one, though. That's another one of those kind of gimme games in either direction in Pleasanton. But Amador Valley's coming. They're going to have a strong season there under Danny Jones. And now that wraps it up for this edition of the West Coast Preps podcast. Thanks again to Noah Glosson, always for coming on and always for all the hard work he's got. Noah, where are you going to be tomorrow night?
It's probably going to be, I'll probably be in Clayton Valley and Amador Valley for that big game out there in Pleasanton. It's going to be good atmosphere, 2 good teams facing off, so it should be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one. And then tonight I'll be at Christopher against Lincoln out there in Gilroy. Tomorrow night, McClymonds against San Ramon Valley. And on Saturday, I will be at St. Mary's Berkeley against Kennedy-Richmond. But everybody take care, stay safe. Be sure to follow us on social media, West Coast Preps _ subscribe to all of our channels and follow all of our work at westcoastpreps.com.